I read this book and I couldn't believe that this man led this lifestyle and still survived.
But didn't you, in fact, actually talk to him during the making of the film, or in some way?
Quite incessantly. Yeah. Quite incessantly.
So tell us who he was. I mean, we know his story in the book, but you just said one interesting thing. He was truthful.
Yes.
To himself.
That's what I think I appreciated most, was that he, to him, the book, I think, was a cautionary tale of his time on Wall Street. And since that time, he's a much different person, and he's actually depicted as we depict him at the end of this movie, of somebody that's going around talking about the dangers of greed and trying to, get into the business sector with some sort of moral foundation.
Kind of Tony Robbins of his time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he was incredibly candid and honest with me about what he went through. And a lot of times we would talk about sections in the book, and he'd say, not only was it that bad, I was 10 times worse. And I'm going to tell you why. And I really appreciated that honesty, because I think, from Marty's perspective, he wanted to have a little bit of distance from that subject. But I needed to speak to him constantly, just to get, the nuances and the detail of what these scenes were like.
Yeah. You have said that that the speeches were some of the hardest stuff, because that's where you saw the art of salesmanship. Yeah. You saw how much he believed, almost, or did, what he was saying. And it was almost messianic and,
Well, I had been thinking about Terry Winter wrote this incredible screenplay, really catered for Marty and myself, and I'd been thinking about these speeches for almost 6 years, and mechanically breaking them down. But it wasn't really until I was on that stage where it kind of took on a life of its own. I kind of felt closer to what Jordan must have felt during that time period, where he almost created a cult for himself, and being consumed by that adoration and the power of being able to provide great amounts of wealth to this mass of people that were worshiping him. And when I got on that stage, it kind of took on this incredible life of its own, and I kind of felt like I was Bono or some rock star, even though I knew that these actors were paid to clap every single time I was shouting at them. You get this incessant need to push them forward, and it almost became like this Braveheart speech or cry for battle, except I was persuading them to go out there and essentially screw as many people over as possible.